So here I am, coming to you across a screen, which feels a little bit surreal, even though it was the norm for such a long time. But I'm filming this in a lounge using my phone, so please don't expect this to be a professional production. And no doubt there's going to be some background noises, some distractions, but I am hoping you are going to give this message your full attention, because it really is important in context to groups. And if you can hear a bell ringing in the background, that's just a little cat walking around. Stay with me. Just stay with me. So I'm talking to you because you've let us know that you are keen to be involved in smaller groups in our church, which we are so appreciative of. We're so thankful that you've put your hand up to say, for term 2, I would like to host, facilitate, help orchestrate a group in Co-Church. Now, this isn't the ideal platform, the ideal forum for this to be happening. I really wanted to get us together in person because I wanted to allow you the opportunity to ask any questions, to clarify anything. But that proved difficult to make happen, which, listen, I understand the realities of life right now. We've been through a traumatic couple of weeks, which is still playing out in different ways. I know that there has been a new wave of sickness going through a few families. So this is what it is. It's me talking to you, but I'm still saying that if you have questions, please get in touch with me. Don't just move on, get understanding, ask the questions. It's a good thing. You've got my number, so just give me a call. So a few important things that Tam and I wanted to get across to you so that we are all on the same page, because that is important for us to be on the same page. Okay, firstly, we don't want to be led by rules and structure when it comes to our groups. Not that they're not important. I want our primary guideline or motivation, framework, if you could say it like that, to be our objectives as a church. I'm going to take you back to the series that we started at the beginning of 2022 with, and it was speaking about future church, the church that we want to become. It's the objectives of our church. It's the vision of our church. It's the future mindedness of our church. And so when it comes to your groups, let these objectives be the framework and the guidance for your group as well. 3 objectives. We want to become a church that is deeply formed by Jesus. We want to become a church that is the essence of community. And we want to become a church that is known for restoration. So if you're asking yourself the question, okay, what does my group need to look like? How do I outwork these things practically? You know what? I'm leaving that with you, because you are so capable and you are so able to figure that out in context of your group, with your personality and whom you are connecting with. But could I just ask you to keep coming back to those objectives? Keep asking yourself the question, with your group, are you being deeply formed by Jesus? Are you becoming the essence of community? And are you known for restoration? And we would know that that is a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're just asking of you, in relation to groups in our church, with you playing a role in those, that you would be taking initiative and owning those objectives in your group. So we have 3 streams or 3 types of groups. We have our life groups, our equip groups, and our serve groups. Life groups are centered around an interest. It's people getting together, doing what they enjoy doing. It's life together. Our equip groups are far more centered around a specific area of life that we can learn from and get expert insight into. It'll be far more content driven. And then we have our serve groups. Serve groups are about a group of people getting together, using their gift, their talent, their passion, and using it for the betterment of our church community as a whole. And you're probably asking, does that mean people have to be involved in all three types of groups. Well, let me just state this very, very clearly. There are no have-tos in our church. It's all about what people want to do. It's about freedom of choice, and it is about choosing what is applicable for context and season right now. Tam and I's hope is that everyone in our church would at least be connected in one type of group. And then we get onto the beauty of what the rhythms or the cycles of those groups are. We've been very intentional about them being termly, because it means there's a starting point and there is an ending point. So for term 2, the beginning point of our groups is this week. The ending point of groups for term 2 is the week of June 21st. And so there's a really strong reason behind those, because it means that people can have a break. It means people can go away on holidays. It also means that people can come into a group and leave a group, because there's a starting point and there is an ending point. It means that somebody can be in an equip group in term 2 and then a life group in term 3. Or people can do whatever they want to do, and that's okay. If people want to be involved in all three types of groups, that's amazing. Let's just let people make that decision for themselves, but we're being proactive in facilitating those connection points for people. Another question you might have is, how often do we have to meet as a group? Again, there's no have-tos, okay? No have-tos. But it makes sense that if we are aiming to achieve those objectives, we're guided, motivated by the overarching objectives of our church. That is to be deeply formed by Jesus, to be the essence of community, and to be known for restoration. It makes sense to me, particularly when it comes to life groups, that you would be meeting at least every 2 weeks, because those things are never going to become a reality if we're meeting once a month or once a term. So life groups, it makes sense that at least every 2 weeks. If you'd like to meet weekly, that's entirely up to you. Our equip groups are a little bit different, because they would be driven more by the content and the program itself, which potentially requires them to meet every single week. And then our serve groups, again, are a little bit different, because right now they're anchored to our worship service. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be like that in the future, but for right now, our serve groups or our volunteer teams are really centered around that worship service, which happens consistently week in, week out throughout the year, except when we take that Sabbath break in the festive season. And so we're trying to get to the place when it comes to our serve groups that we have enough capacity that people are not needing to be week in, week out participating in our serve groups. And the cool thing is that we see that already with our baristas, with our worship and production teams, with our kids. People have enough capacity and there is enough space, but we want to hold on to that. We want to be protective about that, because again, we appreciate everybody's context and capacity. So life groups, hopefully you would be meeting at least every 2 weeks. Equip groups will look at the program or the course content and let that define how regularly we get together. Serve groups, again, capacity around our teams. Is there any administration required for our groups? Not necessarily. And what I mean by that is, from my perspective, I'm definitely not going to be leading any questions towards you in relation to your group around administration. What I'm really going to be asking of you is, how are people in your group? Like, how are they? And if you can answer that, that is just going to make my heart sing, because that is really what our groups are to be about. You know, that sense of community, growing in Jesus, known for restoration, friendship, family, all of those dynamics. And so we're not expecting heavy administration from you. We're just really expecting high levels of care for the people that are on your group. So before I finish this, I just wanted to cover perhaps some expectations that Tam and I have for people who are actively involved in our groups. So let me start with this. The first expectation we have for you is that you would take personal ownership for your health and your faith. We want you to own your relationship with Jesus. We want you to own your family dynamic, your friendships, your health, your emotional well-being. And we want you to be leading by example in that area. There's no point in us serving our guts out, but our life right now is just not in a healthy place. That doesn't mean that there is expectations or obligations for perfection. That's not what that's about. But it is about you and I owning our life, owning our faith, owning our health. Another expectation that we have for you is that you would prioritize our worship service. Our worship service currently happens at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and we really want that to be a priority, because if you think about it, our worship service is currently the biggest window for people to come along to find a sense of connection with our community. And our smaller groups, they really are that inroad into community. And so it only makes sense that we would have you who are participating, involved, creating, building, reaching out, connecting with people in relation to small groups, that you would be physically present in our worship services. And it's understanding the significance and value that God places on the collective gathering. And so within that prioritizing of our worship service, we really want you to prioritize the connection of people. If you turn up on a Sunday, when you turn up on a Sunday and you see an unfamiliar face or somebody that you don't yet know that well, or it's a completely brand new person, please, can you take ownership of that? Extend beyond yourself. Say hi, welcome, invite, reach out to, and connect. It would mean the world to us, but more than that, it would make such a huge difference in the life of a person if they came along to our worship service and they were met with a sense of warmth and personal connection and invitation. So please, prioritize our worship services, and within that, prioritize connecting with people. Another expectation is that you would help us to be more effective in our communication. We don't want to presume that everybody knows everything. And as we break things down into smaller groups, what it allows is it allows more effective communication, because we can get a message out, and then because you have direct personal connection with people, it means that it stays personal, it stays authentic and sincere. And that's the goal. I don't want us to be a church that is just kind of spewing out information, that it becomes a little bit more corporate and callous. But communication is important. People need to know what's going on so they can be involved with things. The ideal scenario is that it comes from a personal place through real personal relationship. And so please, if communication is coming at you, if information is coming at you, don't let it stay with you. Be a conduit. Let that information, that communication, go directly to people who are involved in your group. And if it means that people are being doubled up with communication, because I might be communicating with them and you might be communicating with them, if it's personal and sincere, that's okay. We're not going to be spamming people. We're not going to be overloading people with information. But I would rather us be over-communicating in a personal way than under-communicating. So please, we would expect of you that you would help us in being more effective in our communication. And lastly, the final expectation is that you would have fun. Have fun. Laugh. Create some laughter in your group. Let's enjoy each other's company. Let's enjoy church. Let's enjoy Jesus. And have some fun together. So that's it from me. I hope that you've got the heart of what I've been trying to communicate when it comes to our groups. I hope you understand the responsibility and the significance of it, and that we don't take it lightly, the care of people. And you've got my number. Get in touch with me. If you need to ask any questions and clarify anything, I'm all ears, and we can work through a few things. So hopefully we're going to see you on Sunday. And again, thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done, are doing, and will be doing in the days ahead. We so appreciate it. We'll see you soon.